All right, this is the GW US Open Terrain. We are going to be showing you in this video how to build it. So we did all of this. We got all the terrain. It is literally 1-to-1 with their specs. We got the acrylic bases. We got all the kits and everything like that. You can see how it's finished. Make sure to tune in tomorrow on Sunday for the premiere of the battle report that we are going to film. It's going to be Ultramarines versus Dark Eldar to debut and show how this terrain plays. So enjoy this video. Let's get into what this takes. So right here we've got the boxes of terrain that you actually need to mimic it. You've got the Sanctum Administratus, and you've got your sub-cloister and storage fane. And then there is one other part that you need. It's these. We already had these put together. This is like a fuel storage thing or something like that. It's from one of the old sets. You can buy these without the tops off GW. I think they're like 50 bucks. You can get them off eBay as well if they're out of them. They're like 40 bucks. So you need 2 of these. So that's about 100 bucks right there. We'll kind of go over this. This pack right here, technically you need 4 of them to do it exact. So these make part of the big ruins and they also make the small ruins. I'm doing it with 3 because I'm just going to be okay with the 2 middle ruins not being 100% mirrored for our practicing and stuff like that. These will run you $60 each. And then you've got this one here. You need 2 of these bad boys. They run you $80 each. These make up the rest of the big ruins. So now let's kind of go over the next part of the process. I'm going to show you my scrap notes here. So when I was planning this all out, I wanted to figure out how much terrain we needed, kind of what was in each box. We had these boxes laying around. So what I did is I drew up each piece of terrain. You can see my little mock-ups here on kind of how the terrain is made up, what makes up every single piece of terrain, and then what comes in the boxes. So then I could figure out what boxes I need. But I already did this work for you, so you don't need any of those notes. So the pieces of terrain, we can kind of go over those next and kind of show you what makes up each one. All right, so this first piece of terrain, you've got the fuel thing here, and then this is from the bigger set of terrain. So this one is going to be 3 pieces that way, 1 piece in a broken the other way, and pretty much they're just setting it like this right next to here. So there's nothing too crazy going on. I don't know how they're going to like fill this gap. There's definitely a gap there. And all these windows, they have filled as well. We will fill those when we finish it and paint it. And then the top floor is a corner piece, 2 broken pieces. And then this top part here is done like that. So this is literally 1-to-1 what their images are. So hopefully this is what they're going to actually use. So that's part of this one ruin here that has that. And then you've got the back side of the ruin, which is going to use one part from your smaller terrain set here. So it's this piece here. It's got a piece of floor and a piece here. These pieces are really easy to put together. They kind of connect in the corners and kind of just squeeze together really nice. But yeah, it's like 3 pieces that just snap together. So this one ends up going in the corner like that. And then you've got a small piece here. And so how you can figure out kind of the size of the terrain is these pieces right here fully touch each other. And then this piece just lines up directly with that. And it almost goes all the way over to where the edge of the terrain is going to be. So you're able to line it up like this and kind of measure the full thing. So this is your full footprint of one of the large ruined pieces of terrain. When you measure it, we'll lay down a measuring tape right next to it so you can kind of see it. So when you measure it from edge to edge of the terrain, it's almost exactly 11 inches. So their terrain looks like it hangs over about a half an inch on each side. So the floor base that you want is going to be about 12 inches by 12 inches. We'll kind of show what we're going to use for that and the sizing we're doing and why we're doing it. But that's about the size of that terrain. So that's one piece. Now let's go into the next room. All right, for this next piece, we can brighten this up a little bit now. For this next piece here, you've got another one of your big ones. So these ones, the tops are going to be a little different on the 2 that I did. This one I did a little bit fuller of a top, you can see here. with these pieces. And the other one that is exactly the same, I did with a lesser top. So I mimicked it just exactly how they did it with the pieces that we had. So this one is going to be 3 full and a broken by 1 full and a broken. And then your floor, you've got 2 pieces of floor here. This one is a full piece with 2, and then this one is a piece with 1 and a broken, and they already come connected. One thing when you build these terrain pieces, you have to put these little like filler things here. So make sure that you put these filler pieces in that go here and here before you put this top piece on. And yeah, this have windows as well. Obviously these will be fully covered. So this one's pretty simple. So that piece is there. Then you've got, this is from the smaller terrain set. It's just a broken ruin. This touches just how this one does there. So that kind of fills that in for you. And then you've got the other piece from the small one. So this one, you only put one of the floors on. It has 2 floor pieces. The other one kind of goes in right over here. But we're going to just do the 1 floor because that's what they show in their picture. And then it's 2 more pieces that snap in. And you can see right here, I've already blocked this window out. So here's an example of what we'll do to block these windows out. This is just using like a small piece of plastic, and it's going to be painted black anyways, but that'll close that up. So this was very interesting to figure out how these 2 pieces go together. So this floor right here, these are taller floors. I think they're 5 inches. And then these ones here are 3.5. So when you look at like the photo or anything, if you were to put these together like this, there's this giant gap here, and they stated, you know, there's not any windows or gaps or anything like that. So actually how they have it pictures is they have this fully overlapping like this to close this gap. So this piece of terrain actually sits behind the other one. I'll go around this side for you. So it just fits fully behind it so that there's no gaps at all right there, and it overlaps each other. So then you've got this floor that steps up to 3.5, and then it goes up to 5. So you've got a lot of floor here, different heights, and then this whole back corner is just open on this one. I think it's open. I might have to look at that. Pretty sure it's open. I don't think there's a small thing there. I think that one's just fully open. I'll double check it, but I think it's fully open. I think that's the second one. And again, this is the exact same size. It's about that 11-inch mark, and the plexiglass they had on the bottom is just overhanging it a little bit. So now we'll show you the small ruins, and then we'll get into the basing. All right, so the small ruin is going to use that exact same piece that we just used from the last terrain piece with the single floor there. It's literally just a ruin with that, and then another broken piece like this. When you measure these, see what we got here. So these end up being just about 10 inches. I think that this piece right here ends up overlapping a little bit. So it's just about 10 inches, just under 10 inches. We're going to be putting it on a 10-inch base. So we're going to overhang it about a half an inch on each side. And then when you measure it the other way, you're going to be looking at about 4 to 4.5 inches on the terrain. So we're going to put it on a 6-inch base that way so that it overhangs about half an inch to an inch all the way around it. And they just do 2 of these mimicking it. So because we're not going to be using this same exact piece for it, we will have one that will use the opposite way that way. So we'll have one that way and one that way. Ideally, you want them exactly the same. So you would use 2 pieces like this, but we don't have another one of those terrain boxes, so we're just going to do it a little different for this one. So now let's get into what we're going to do for the basing. All right, so we've got the basing, and we're going to put this on plexiglass just like they did in the photo, just because we think it's kind of a cool idea to be able to see the mat and everything underneath it. And it also allows us to not have to commit to like any design or anything or build anything around these buildings. What we want to do is we want to use this, and we're just going to blue tack the stuff right down on it, so that if they ever change anything, we can alter our stuff accordingly. So all this is just like from Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. It's plexiglass. It's pretty thin. I didn't really think we needed anything thick because it's always going to be sitting on a table. We're not going to be like transporting it with buildings on it or anything. So I got an 11 by 14 sheet, and I got an 8 by 10 sheet. And this stuff's super easy to cut. So all I did was score it with a razor blade and just snap it. And then we're just going to peel that off when we peel it. And then we've got a piece of acrylic. And then this one is going to go from 11 by 14 to 11 by 12. Ideally, it's 12 by 12, but they don't make them in pieces that size, and I didn't want to deal with a giant piece and having to cut a bunch of angles. I just wanted to trim off a little bit. So our bases are going to be 11 by 12, and the smaller ruins are going to be 10 by 6. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit these with spray paint. We're just going to coat them all silver for now, and then we'll go back with an airbrush and we'll hit a bunch of coloring. But just to get it ready for our practice game, we're just going to get a base coat of silver on it, and then we're going to tack it down and everything and rock and rolling. So let's see what it looks like once there's paint on it. All right, so here's what we've got so far. We have sprayed it silver. We've gone in with a little bit of black with an airbrush. We've closed up all the windows. Now we're just going to go in with blue on half the pieces and red on half the pieces, just to kind of make them pop and stand out a little bit. So yeah, let's put the last little color on for now. All right, so here we are with kind of the final look of what we did just to quickly get these done. So we threw some blue on these all the way around. And then on the red ones, did similar thing, red all the way around. Even on the smaller pieces, just give it a little bit of red highlights. And then on the neutral pieces, we just went with kind of a neutral tan color on a couple of the pillars. You can't really see it too much. You can kind of see it on the floor there. It's a little bit more tan and white. So yeah, that's going to distinguish the pieces. And that does it for building the US Open terrain from Games Workshop. Make sure to tune in for our next battle report. It will be showing Thomas's Ultramarines versus Brad's Dark Eldar on this type of terrain. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. If you're going to go and spend $500 to do this, take about a couple days. Probably took me like 3 days to do this. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next one.